to listen closely to him. You know, I'm just so grateful. You know, Rudy here. You know, he's been helping me for a couple of years now. You know, never in my wildest dream that I thought Rudy would be helping me. You know, I mean, I knew him. We were the best of friends. We were just, you know, people coming to church together. But lo and behold, boom, there's Rudy. You know, he's not one that want to speak in the front of people. He's not one that want to do something. He wouldn't even do this. He wouldn't even talk about reading what he just read. Rudy, that wasn't Rudy. But guess what? He wants to change his life. He wants to be better. He wants to grow. And he's doing it. And he's doing it. Starts his own business. I mean, it's just powerful stuff. Man. And now Alex, you know, Alex, I met him a couple of years ago. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Just got out of prison, right? Just had gotten out of prison. You know, a little rough. You know, he's a big guy, you know, you gotta respect him. And, you know, but, you know, he wanted to change his life. He wanted to change his life. He just got out of prison, just like you. And he was struggling with some things and trying to make some decisions. And one day he made a decision and he made it happen. And here he is. And hopefully he'll share a little bit about, you know, himself. But I want you to let's see what he has for us. I'm sure that he's going to bring something great for us. So help me welcome Alex Badilo.
Oh, I thought I was going to be nervous, and I'm shaking. Well, good evening. My name is Alex Badilo. This is truly an answered prayer. It's a dream come true. I've been to these classes for about 3 years now, and you know, my goal is, you know, one day, you know, God help me. I really want to be able to share. I've shared a few things about my testimony, but nevertheless, thank you, Orlando, for the opportunity. Thank you, everybody here for your. Hopefully, I can help you with something today. I'm going to be sharing a short message on a book that I'm reading, and it's called The 7 Habits to Highly Effective People. And I'm going to quote off a book by our founder, Pastor Wayman Mitchell. He has a very good book, and it's called Brother Art shared that book with me from Pastor Mitchell and his disciples. And it says, and it quotes in here, it says, and I'm quoting from his book, it says, somebody once said, geography is the study of place. History is the study of the past, and politics is the study of power. It should be added that preaching is the exercise of divine persuasion upon the hearts of men. Preaching has influenced. The preaching of Jesus Christ has influenced my life to change my perceptions. Keyword, to change my perceptions from the inside out. Perception is the topic for tonight. Perception is defined as the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses, as to how the world sees us, as to how the world looks at us, that we just came out of prison, that we just got saved. I don't have such a powerful testimony as my brother Orlando, but what I can share is that Brother Orlando didn't make it to the party on her daughter's 4th birthday, and I did make it to my daughter's 3rd birthday. You see, and that's the difference where you immediately you can begin to say perception, or he didn't make it, but I made it to the party. Only to tuck her in that night of February the 1st in 2009 on her birthday. Then I tucked her in that night, and the following morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm heading north. I get pulled over at the Falfurrias checkpoint, and I get arrested for transporting hundreds of pounds of marijuana. Daddy never came back. I never went back to my daughter's after her birthday. We didn't even open the gifts. That's the story that I shared when I was in prison. I had to deal with that, where I didn't go back. I don't know when I'm going to go back. I'm facing a 42-month sentence. That's the perception that one gets. You don't know where you're headed. And now as you look at me and we perceive the things of the world and we see each other, in my case right now, I was telling some of the guys, if you can just picture me, because I know what it is to have a crack pipe in my mouth, to strike it with the lighter. Yo sé lo que es cuando te truenan las orejas. I've been there. I've done that. I know what it is to be on the ground, you know, scratching, searching for crumbs, you know, trying to get the next high, just to put another piece of carpet or some sheetrock in your pipe and mess it up. I've been there. I've done that. I've introduced my daughters to the alcohol, the drug life. It's been that's the things that I do. But I chose to change my life through this program. I bowed my knee to Jesus Christ, and I decided to live different. I said, I don't want this life anymore. It was a struggle. I really struggled to change my life. But and one of the quotes in another book that I'm reading is by David Stern Jordan. It says, there is no real excellence in all the world which can be separated from right living. In other words, you can't separate those two. Real excellence equals right living. You have to live right. You have to be able to commit yourself to doing things the right way. And once that, you know, real excellence will happen. Because let me tell you that we all have a deep need and inner hunger for us to succeed. Everyone wants to be successful. Nobody wants to be a failure. Nadie quiere fracasar. Everybody wants to be somebody. But sometimes sometimes, you know, we'll struggle with at being effective at these situations. And here are going to be some examples familiar to you and I. And I'm going to share these with you because I thought they were really interesting. That reading off this book, and a lot of us struggle with the same issues. And one of them, it says, I've set and I've met my career goals. I'm successful at my business. I have all the right cars. I've got the money. He says, but it's cost me my personal life and my family life. I've had to ask myself, is it worth it? Then the other issue would be course after course on effective management training. I expect a lot of my employees. I work hard, I treat them right, but I don't feel any loyalty from them. I train them to be responsible, independent, but somehow they just really don't perform. Where can I find employees who can do that? And the famous one is, I've started a new diet for the 5th time this year, and I woke up this morning, I was positive, I had a really good attitude about it. I said, this time I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna show up to the gym. But then again, I just can't keep a promise that I make to myself. My teenage son is rebellious and on drugs. No matter what I try, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't listen to me. What can I do? There's so much to do and there's not enough time. I plan, I write notes, I post-it notes, I do to-do lists. My wife says, do a to-do list. And I still can't, you know, I still don't find the time, and I still find it that I don't live a happy, productive, peaceful life that I want to live. I'm always busy, always doing, and I wonder, will it even make a difference in the long run? Will I have impact everything that we're doing? This is one of the toughest ones that I deal with, or that this man in this book deals with. He says, I see my friends or relatives achieve some degree of success or receive some recognition. I smile and congratulate them enthusiastically. It's a good job. But inside, I'm eating my heart out. Why do I feel this way? I have a forceful personality. I always wonder what other people really think of me and my ideas. The last one is, my marriage has gone flat. We don't fight or anything. We just don't love each other anymore. I've gone to counseling, tried a number of things, but we just can't seem to rekindle the feeling we used to have. And let me tell you that these are deep problems. These are painful problems, problems that a quick fix approaches, they can't solve that. And we have to start to realize that if we wanted to change the situation, we first have to change ourselves. We have to change ourselves effectively, but we first have to change our perception. And perception can mean a lot of things to many. There are steps to changing our perception, and these steps are as follows. There are techniques involved. There's ethics that we have to live by. Character ethics, which basically means behavior. Personality ethics, which means attitudes. And the last one is paradigms. I said paradigms. I was studying this word. It's a new word to me as I'm reading. I said, what does paradigms mean? And no, it doesn't mean where you get 2 dimes or 3 dimes for 20 bucks. No, that's not we get 3 for 20. That's not paradigms. What paradigms, it's the way we see things, the way we see the world, how we see it in visual terms, but in terms of perceiving, understanding, and interpreting what we see. A lot of these things said, okay, well, let's work on some techniques on trying to change my life, to change my perceptions, because I want to make a difference. I don't want to live and be that same guy that I used to do. I want to make a change. I want to choose to change in your soul. Techniques is a skillful or efficient way of doing something, and that means that you work in these situations, but techniques do not work for long term. They'll work for short term situations. For example, cramming on a test, cramming for a study, cramming your way through school, through a sermon, through a study, such like this, and you might get good grades, you might get a pat on the back, good job, but at the end of the day, if you don't pay the price, day in and day out, living right, day in, living right, day out, prayer, and you continue to commit yourself to living right, to choosing to change, then all that, what that's going to do for you is you'll never be able to achieve the mastery of the subjects that you have given yourself to. The mastery of the subjects, and you do not develop an educated mind, which is what Brother Orlando has been implementing, or has implemented in my life. He's had a powerful impact to where one decision, choose to change. He said, you want to get off drugs? I said, I got the recipe. I said, well, let me have it. After he followed me for about a whole night, he said, let me have it. He said, it's really simple. It's either yes or no. You're either going to do right or you're going to do wrong. And I said, is that it? He's like, yeah, try it. And I tried it, and best decision I've ever made. I said, you know what? And ever since then, I turned around and said, no more. They came and they offered? No. That was easy. See, but it had to be a decision that comes from inside our heart, a decision that we have to make in order to be able to live this life that we choose. And this is there's also another quote that I thought was really interesting, and it says, and the reason I share that about Orlando is because it was really simple, and it's because it's powerful. It says, into the hands of every individual, each one of us, he's talking to each and every one of us, is given a marvelous power for good or for evil. In evil, and the silent unseen, for the silent unseen influence of his life. This is simply the constant pattern of what a man really is, not what he pretends to be. In other words, it's what you do in prayer, it's what you do in the secret. You can come in here, I can come in here and stand before you and give this study, but when I go home, who am I really going to be? Am I going to be somebody who is making the right decision, going to prayer day in and day out, doing things, living right or living wrong, saying yes or saying no? And that's what this man is talking about here. And he goes into the topic of ethics. And ethics is defined as a moral principle or set of morals held by standards by either individuals or group. And it's sad to say, but the very first time I got introduced to ethics, really introduced to ethics, was in prison. They said, look, these are the rules, This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna run with. This is what you're gonna, and you have to abide within those standards, within those rules. You know, if not, you know, your disciplinas are gonna come and what have you. But it took me a while because I'm coming from the world. I can do whatever I want. Not anymore. Right? When I stepped into that prison, I said, no, all your rights, you've given up all your rights. You belong to the feds. Now you belong to us. Now you're gonna eat when we tell you. You're gonna do whatever we tell you. And that's where I learned. That to me was where I learned about ethics. It was a moral principle. And there are several ethics that you can relate to. But in this book, they're talking about character ethics. Character ethics mean behavior. It teaches that these are basic principles of effective living. These ethics date back to our forefathers, the founders of our country, that way back 200 years ago when they believed in integrity, they believed in justice, they believed in humility, simplicity, they believed in the Constitution, they set up the Constitution. So all this was way back then, 200 years ago, they began with these character ethics. As we begin to live, the population begins to grow, we go into personality ethics, which means attitudes, because now integrity no longer is valid. A man of his word is no longer moved. Now, people nowadays, they don't keep their word. I've struggled with that myself. So that was left back there, and that's a behavioral issue. So now we go into the personality ethics, which has to do with human and public relations. They relate to it as PMA, which is a positive mental attitude. They talk about attitudes because what I'm trying to establish here is the perception, the word where we're going to perceive, and the word paradigm that we're going to introduce. And what that means is that the positive mental attitudes mean that there's encouraging speeches, there's motivational speakers that will get, we're gonna, change your attitude. Attitude determines altitude, how far you want to go. Smiling wins more friends than frowning. And whatever the mind of a man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. To me, that's just faith. And so in my social life, it just means faith. And finally, the power of paradigms. And the power of paradigms is the way we see the world. Not how we see it in visual terms, but in terms of perceiving, understanding, and interpreting. For example, for our purposes, the simple way to understand paradigms is through maps. And we all know that a map is not the territory. A map is simply an explanation of certain aspects of the territory. For example, if we travel to San Antonio and we end up at it, and we want to buy a map to either move to Houston or Dallas, wherever our destination is, and they actually misprint this map, and they give you a map of McAllen. Well, they're going to give you a map of McAllen. You're not going to be able to make it. You're going to have problems studying this map because you're in San Antonio with a McAllen map. It's not going to match. You're going to have situations trying to navigate. It's going to be frustrating to get to your destination, and it'll be hard even for Siri. Siri's going to freak out like, what do you mean? You're not in McAllen, you're in San Antonio. So you're going to have complications. But at the same time, while you're having complications, you can relate back to your character ethic, your behavior, which is you might work on your behavior. You'll try harder, and you're going to try faster, and you're going to behave, okay, what can I do? But at the end of the day, your efforts would only get you to the wrong place faster. That's the character issue. And on the attitudes and the personality traits, you're looking at, you might work on your attitude. You're gonna think positive. You're gonna be positive and happy, and yeah, let's go. It don't matter where we are. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna get to the right place if you've got the wrong map. The point is, you'd still be lost without the proper map. Problem sometimes is not attitude or behavior. It has to do with the wrong map. The way you view things, it's the way your perception is of life, and each one of us have many maps in our heads. My mom used to say, cada cabeza es un mundo, and that goes related to what it says on every one of us have different maps in our heads.